Sparks, where we explore the fire that fuels the soul's greatest yearnings. I'm your host, Saima, and tonight we ignite the light within with our amazing guest, Aneta Waclaw, guide, catalyst, and radiant human whose journey and insight show us how to tap into transformation in everyday life. Aneta, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
You're warmly welcome, Anita. It's my pleasure to have you here. So, I would love to know that what was the spark, like your moment of calling?
Yeah, I think we all have a unique journey and we all have a different story. So I can only talk off my experience. But I'm a firm believer that there is purpose in our challenges. And I was struggling with finding my purpose for some time. And it wasn't until I realized I was in the middle of my challenges of unhealthy relationships that I realized that I'm supposed to use these to find my purpose. And I was able to find clarity through that because it's given me the opportunity to not only grow out of the challenges that I was in, but it's given me the opportunity to help other people along the way with unhealthy relationships.
Mm-hmm. That's a powerful insight, Anita. I mean, like you said, that saying purpose and challenge, it truly reframes how we move through them, right?
Absolutely. And it's like we're all here for one another. Like nobody is here supposed to be doing things like growing through life on their own. So the least we can do is stick out a hand and say, "Hey, I've walked down your journey before, or I understand where you're coming from. So let me help you along the way." And I think that's one of the most beautiful things we can do for one another.
Absolutely, yes, 100%. Now, how did that moment, shift your direction practically?
So the defining moment that really shifted for me was when I finally said enough is enough. I was in a really unhealthy marriage at a really early age, as early as 21 years old. And by the time I was 23, I finally said enough is enough. I'm done suffering. I suffered for the last 3 years in this relationship and I can't take it anymore. So it wasn't an overnight decision, but it was one day at a time that I came to realize that there is better out there. And if I'm the only one going through this, then there's other people out there. So I need to share my story because there's other people who are going back and forth. I went back and forth. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? So many times. But sometimes people just need that guide. Like, listen, there's so much better on the other side. So when it was really when I finally said enough is enough and I don't know what the other side looks like, but it has to be better than this.
Mm-hmm. It's really impactful, like to hear not just the emotional side of your journey, but also like how you took tangible steps to realign your path, and that level of intentionally really stands out. And I think that it completely resonates with so many people out there who are navigating their own turning points.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's like one of the biggest blessings is just getting outside of your comfort zone, whether nobody knows what the future looks like exactly, but if you nothing changes, then nothing changes. So if you're not happy with where you are, then nothing is going to change if you don't change. And yeah, the future you is not here yet, but you have to know that if you, we're not meant to live in lack, we're not meant to suffer, we're not meant to live um below our means if we don't want to. We're meant to be abundant. We're meant to be happy. And if you're not happy, you need to understand that there is happiness on the other side of this challenge that you're facing.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And hearing that, Anita, honestly, that how you embraced change, even when it came through, challenge, is a reminder for sure that transformation isn't just possible. It's like often waiting just beyond the discomfort, right?
Absolutely. I mean, yes, the results are great, but you don't learn anything at the top. You learn in the process of going to the top. You learn in the process of becoming successful. Grapes are crushed and turned into wine, and they had to go through a sea of challenges by getting crushed. Diamonds are for made under pressure. Olives are pressed to make oil, and that pressing challenges to get you to where you want to be. So never take your challenges as, oh, why is this happening to me? Be like, be grateful. I think one of the biggest mindset shifts for me was learning to have gratitude in moments of adversity.
Absolutely, yes, yes, that's the magic moment. Now, your approach blends soulful depth with grounded practicality. I'm really curious to know that how do you balance intuitive guidance with day-to-day living?
Every day I first start with my faith. I start with my faith and I express gratitude for everything. I thank God for everything because if he gives you another day, you still have purpose in you and there's a calling inside of you. So never take every day for granted because every day truly is a blessing day. And then I typically journal or listen to something positive, and then I'll drink my coffee and start my day.
Mm-hmm. That deep sense of gratitude, it really comes through, and it's beautiful to hear how faith grounds your like our everyday life.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer that I wouldn't be able to do anything without God because I was in some really dark times with my marriage and the relationship because I was 21 when I got married and it was a completely manipulative relationship. So there wasn't much, like everything was manipulation, love bombing, gaslighting every single day. And I know that I wouldn't have been able to do it without my faith or without God.
That's, Anita, that's again a reminder that when we lead with trust and appreciation, even the practical moments can feel deeply aligned.
Absolutely. You don't have to know. It's like when you look at a picture of a staircase and there's 30 stairs in the picture, and if you're at the first one, you're not going to jump to the 30th staircase. You're going to go one step at a time. And as long as you live each day in the present moment and do what you can in that day, then you can rest your head on the pillow and say, I did a good job today. Then you've done a good job. I think we live in such a hustle society sometimes,
Mhm.
especially with social media, of comparing our lives to other people. But we need to realize that nobody posts the bad stuff on social media. People only post the good. So that with a grain of salt and just know that as long as you do your best one day at a time and you lived in the present moment, then you've done a job well done.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree, Anita. Now, can you share one daily tool or any practice that, bridges soul and reality?
For me, it's figuring out how I can add more value to more people. I love helping people. I used to have a background as a former hairstylist, and what set me apart as a hairstylist is that I would always educate my clients. I would educate them on how to style their hair, how to use their products, shampooing, all of that. And I enjoyed educating them, but I wanted to take it further. So that's when I got into this space of healing my inner child and healing my trauma from unhealthy relationships. Because if I can heal my trauma, then I can help other people with it. And with that, I've been able to write a book and I've been able to start my podcast, Nourished Inside Out. And that is really like the tool guide that I give people.
That's really again a powerful connection, like how your own healing journey flows into the work you do with others. Like the way you have turned your role as a hairstylist into a space of transformation is deeply moving.
Absolutely. And it's a very different industry as well. I had to take that leap of faith as well. Like I loved working at the salon. I was there every day that I possibly could. I worked every shift that I possibly could, every weekend, holiday, night, early morning. I loved it and I loved all my clients. But at the end of the day, I had to realize that I didn't know anybody. I didn't know the area. I've actually never been there. So, it was really trusting that faith and knowing that I won't be given anything I can't handle. And if I'm called to go move and start a life in this country, then there's something there for me.
It really shows, that soul work doesn't have to look a certain way. It can be found in everyday interactions and in touch and listening and holding space for someone, even in the chair at a salon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the salon was great, but at the end of the day, it's like I can only do so many clients in a day physically. And I wanted to just continue helping people. So I find my joy in adding value to people and really showing them their potential and letting them know that their challenges are not roadblocks. Their challenges are baby obstacles to get them to where they want to be, to help shape them to who they want to be. Because I
Mm.
struggled a lot. I I wanted to be more emotionally intelligent. I wanted to be more mentally strong, and the challenges in my past relationships have taught me how to be more emotionally stable. They have taught me how to grow through the adversities. So I'm forever grateful for that, but now I find joy in helping others understand that.
Yes, no doubt. That's really incredible and remarkable, Anita. Now, transformation often, feels messy and courageous. Let's be honest. So, can you share a story of someone stepping through fear to transform?
Yeah, it's not gonna look beautiful in the moment. It's not gonna look perfect. You're gonna be confused and you're gonna feel like you're doing something wrong. But think about it this way, when you start a new sport or you start a new hobby, you're not a pro athlete level and you're not a professional at that hobby the first day. So like for example, if you want to play soccer, you are not going to be a pro athlete overnight, and you're not going to know what to do. But if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to keep going and push past the pain with resilience and a focused mindset, then you're eventually going to become a really good soccer player and you have the potential to become a pro player. But you will never know if you don't try. Everything outside of our comfort zone will feel uncomfortable only because we are not used to it. But that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means that you need to take the time and the steps and the energy to get familiar and see if this is something for you or if something not. Because I took a lot of time in my relationship to see, like, am I supposed to be in this or am I supposed to leave? I was so scared to leave because everything on the outside was unfamiliar. But when I left the relationship, I realized that everything was starting to make more sense because I was starting to finally get clarity. So you never know if you don't try. And if you try and it's confusing, that's okay. Just keep going. Don't give up.
That's again a grounded truth, Anita. I mean, you really captured the essence of transformation so well, and it really does begin with uncertainty and fear. But like you said, that we unlock our potential only when we dare to try.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, we will never stay stagnant. We're either growing or we're dying. And if we're not growing, then we're dying because we never stay stagnant. And I think that's one of the scariest things is for me growing up, I was always scared of being the same person and not growing. So for me, it's always been a valuable key to always be a student of life. I always recommend just be a student of life. I was never an A student at school. Matter of fact, I didn't like going to school, but I enjoy being a student of life. I enjoy learning about relationships. I enjoy learning about other people. I enjoy learning about what I can potentially do in this world. And that has completely changed and shifted my life in so many ways. So, for example, like if you don't try, you'll never know. You just have to go out there and try.
Yes, your words, Anita, are a powerful encouragement for anyone, standing at the age of change, unsure if they can make the leap honestly, I must say.
Yeah, and so many times like we go when we're in like a dark time, we need to real sometimes we're just so like not focused on a growth mindset. We're just focused on the problem. We're just waiting for somebody to reach out their hand and say, "You're going to be okay," or "I got you. I'll pull you out of this." But that's not the reality. The reality is that you need to become your own hero because there's people out there actually waiting for you to reach your goals and so they can see an example. Because a lot of times, if you have a calling on your life, it's because you are called to do that. If you have a dream on your heart, it's because it's achievable. God doesn't check your bank account, He checks your faith account. And that's a really important key that I learned because when I was going through my divorce with my ex husband, I didn't know what I was doing. I already had a lot of like, how would I phrase this? We had a lot of things that we had to pay for together, and I already spent so much money there, and I had this dream there. We did this, we did that. I just suddenly moved out of the apartment, and I still had these dreams to go travel and to go start my healing journey so I can help other people. And God wasn't checking my bank account, He was checking my faith account. Because if your faith account is in good standing, the rest will follow. So that's also a very important factor is knowing that you won't be given anything you can't handle. You just have to believe that you are capable of overcoming and achieving what you're called to.
Oh, that completely makes sense, Anita. But sometimes like we are we can't go anymore. We are tired. So what lit the spark that let us keep going?
Get some sleep and get some rest because sleep will take you a lot further. If your body is not fully rested, then your mind is not thinking properly, then you don't want to work out, then you don't want to eat well. Take care of your health. Get some sleep because when you sleep, then you want to go to the gym, and then when you go to the gym, you want to eat well, and then your mind is more clear. Then it all starts with just the basics. Start with getting a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm. I really love that how you brought it back to the basics like sleep, movement, nourishment. It's such a clear reminder that sometimes the spark isn't some big dramatic moment, but the small consistent choices that help us feel human again.
Absolutely. It really success principles have don't change and they won't. They're always going to be the same. It's just how you apply them can change or from hearing them from different people can change. But success principles have always been the same. It's starting with the basics, take care of your health, take care of yourself, and how can you use your challenges and add value to other people? Because when you help others get what they want, you will eventually get what you want. So, what can you do now to help others while taking care of yourself?
Oh, that makes so much sense, Anita. Now, what does alignment, feel like? Like, how do we know when we are truly aligned with our spark?
Based off my personal experience, it feels like you are at the right place at the right time, but it doesn't feel like work. Like it truly brings you joy and it truly fuels you. For example, I loved being at the salon no matter how much I worked. I worked a lot. Like I would work 12, 14-hour days, multiple days in a row. And I didn't feel burnt out or any of that because I truly enjoyed it. And now what I'm doing with helping others transform their lives, I love what I do because it doesn't feel like work and it brings me joy. So when something brings you joy and you get fulfillment from helping others in certain areas of their lives, then I believe that's true alignment.
Mm-hmm. It's, yes, it's often, not loud or flashy. It's like that steady sense of peace, clarity, or even quite confidence that we are on the right track. And hearing that, how you experience that reinforces how personal and unique alignment can be, yet, how universally touches something deep in all of us, right?
Absolutely, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'll say that, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Look at what kind of challenges you're facing in your life and see how can you improve that? How can if you have a challenge in your life and you see other people are struggling with the same thing, how can you improve that challenge and find a solution and share it with others? Because when you help others get what they want, you'll eventually get what you want. And if you find a solution to a problem, you're just providing solutions to people that are helping them. So what can you do? What can you take from your challenges? Find a solution, and how can you use it to help others?
Absolutely, yes. And I feel that alignment isn't like one and done. It's a dance. Nice to hear the steps, right?
Absolutely. It's not a one and done. Alignment and transformation and healing, it's a lifelong journey. There's no such thing of I'm healed. We're always going to be working on something. You may be more healed than you were yesterday, but there's still always something to heal. Like, that's the beautiful thing about it. It's a lifelong journey. Transformation, it's a lifelong journey. And that ties in with being a student of life.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes. Now, for listeners who feel a spark, flickering, but aren't sure that how to fan it, what's one next step you'd like invite them to take?
Yeah, so I'm really working on expanding my podcast, Nourished Inside Out. And then outside of that, I am working on in the process of building intensive outpatient treatment centers because I have had my fair share of living and being around people, including myself, like getting into like drugs and alcohol at an early age. I got into that. And then I ended up marrying someone who had a hidden drug problem. So the next step on my mission is to create intensive outpatient treatment centers to help more people physically, not just through the podcast, not just through the writing. I really feel like it's my mission to put that together and bring it to life.
So, how to just stay grounded so it becomes a steady flame?
Staying grounded for me is staying grounded in my faith and staying grounded in knowing that I may not have all the answers, but as long as I'm willing to not give up and stay rooted in my faith, then everything will make sense eventually. It doesn't have to make sense immediately when I start something, but I know over time, as long as I don't give up, it will make sense.
That's really a beautiful way to stay, to stay rooted, like surrounding ourselves with connection and continuing to like show up in spaces that light you up, and like expanding the podcast, like you mentioned. That's really remarkable and noteworthy at the same time, Anita.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're warmly welcome, Anita. Anita, you reminded us that Our spark is already inside. It just wants permission to burn brighter. So, listeners, if tonight sparks something within you, step forward, claim the spark, nourish it, and let your light be the gift to the world.